Welcome into Brewers Daily on this Wednesday, the 7th of January. I'm your host, Dave Gasper. Lots to get to on the show here today because things continue to heat up in the Freddy Peralta sweepstakes. It appears we got more rumors and things to talk about there. Also, I want to talk about something I saw with win projections for this upcoming season. I know they're projections, I know they're betting lines, but want to talk about them. There's something interesting there as well. But first, we got to get to Freddy Peralta and the update there. Ken Rosenthal is continuing to talk about the Peralta sweepstakes. Robert Murray as well. So, according to Ken Rosenthal, he talked about this on Foul Territory with Freddy Peralta. If the Brewers were to trade him, they are looking to receive in excess of what they got back for Corbin Burnes. Now, Corbin Burnes is an example that everyone points to when it comes to why the Brewers will trade Freddy Peralta. So Corbin Burnes, he had a year to go until free agency. He was the ace of the staff at the time, and the Brewers traded him to the Baltimore Orioles for DL Hall, Joey Ortiz, and a competitive balanced draft pick. So that was the return at the time. Two players that were close to the big leagues, big league ready. They were able to join the team that season, and a draft pick coming up. So the Brewers are going to try to receive in excess of that when it comes to Freddy Peralta. Now, I don't know if that's going to come in terms of quantity or in terms of potential quality when it comes to those players coming back in return, because Hall and Ortiz at the time, they were in like the top 10-ish of the Orioles prospects, but they were not the top guys in that farm system. That Baltimore farm system, extremely loaded at the time, still pretty strong, but they were not the top of the top prospects that Baltimore had. So when it comes to a deal here for Freddy Peralta, now Rosenthal did not get specific, but that could mean, if they're looking in excess, that could mean either more players, it could mean a higher quantity, it could mean potentially 3 players, and maybe a draft pick as well, depending on where it goes. We'll talk about that. It could just mean simply a higher quality of player, higher quality of prospect than what DL Hall and Joey Ortiz were at the time. I mean, and you look at what Hall and Ortiz have done as Brewers. Hall's been besieged by injuries, which haven't helped him. But he's been effectively a bullpen arm. He was thought to be a starter, a really strong left-handed starter going forward. Hasn't been able to make that happen yet. Spent most of last year in the bullpen when he was healthy. And Joey Ortiz, who has emerged as your starting shortstop, but he really struggles hitting the ball. Very strong defender, but there are question marks about his bat. There were some question marks about his bat back then, and there are still those questions now about whether or not he will be able to hit enough to be in the starting lineup going forward. So they're kind of flawed prospects in some sense. I mean, all prospects have some flaws, but still some flawed prospects, and those flaws have continued to percolate here in the years since that Corbin Burnes trade. So whether the Brewers receive in excess of that higher quality or higher quantity remains to be seen, but they are aiming higher than what they got for a Cy Young winner in Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes was far more, he had far more pelts on the wall, far more success in the major league level than Freddy Peralta has. And the Brewers are still looking to receive in excess of that because, well, Freddy Peralta is going to cost you half as much money. And that allows more teams to get involved, more small market teams to get involved, to pay that $8 million salary. So that's another key factor as well. But that kind of leads to an X factor for this trade as well that we haven't really talked about as much for Freddy Peralta, because he is so cheap. He is available on $8 million for this next season. That opens it up for small market teams. And small market teams are given competitive balanced draft picks. And those can be traded. Those are the only draft picks that can be traded. I'd like to see more be able to be traded, but that's an issue for the next CBA. Got a long time to talk about that. Likely a huge lockout coming up after this next season. We'll get to that later. But when it comes to these trade negotiations, I think a possible X factor could be the inclusion of a competitive balance draft pick. because that's what, when I listed off what the Brewers got for Corbin Burnes, the third thing that they got was a competitive balanced draft pick early on in the draft, comp round A. That is something that I think the Brewers are going to be looking for as well, because if they keep or if they keep Freddy Peralta this next season, they give him the qualifying offer, they watch him walk in free agency, all they're getting is a draft pick. In that range of 30 to 35, kind of right after the first round. That's when their draft pick is going to be. So if you can give them a draft pick that's already in that range, on top of getting those players, that's going to make it a lot more easy for the Brewers to say, okay, yes, this is going to be something that's worth it for us. Because, yes, they do need to restock the farm system and have guys that are going to be continuing to come up and be the next Brewers in the future. But they also want help now. So if you can get guys that can help them now, plus they still get the draft pick they're going to get anyways by keeping Peralta, I think that's something that could be a serious X factor in negotiations and help out some of these small market teams that could potentially be interested. So now if we look at competitive balance round A for this year's draft, who does that potentially make as possible suitors here? I see a couple legitimate ones in here. First pick of comp round A, the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland, they love getting strong pitching. I mean, being able to get, they have a pitching machine over there as well. And if they can add Freddy Peralta to that rotation, they're going to feel much better about their chances this next season. They need more offense. But still, you add Freddy Peralta to Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee, Slade Cecconi. Like, that's a much better looking group. And they also have, some young starters, because Cleveland always has some young, really good starters coming up through the system that could intrigue the Brewers. I mean, you got Parker Messick, you got Doug Nikhazy, Daniel Espino as well. I mean, those are, have been some highly touted prospects that the Brewers could potentially end up trying to land here. Austin Peterson as well. So those are some names to maybe keep an eye on there, because Cleveland could be a dark horse. We haven't seen them named, but the fact that they have that first pick in comp round A, that could hold some intrigue for the Brewers. The Kansas City Royals have the next one. Brewers have already made a trade with the Royals, so there's certainly some familiarity there. I could see the Royals maybe making a move. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they're trying to make some moves. I could see them, if they wanted to reunite Freddy Peralta with Corbin Burnes, they could give up that comp A pick, and that could certainly help them in terms of being able to get a deal done. Then you go through the rest of comp A. St. Louis Cardinals, nope, not sending them there. Tampa Bay Rays, they already got that pick from the Orioles. That pick cannot be traded again. So that one's locked out. Pittsburgh Pirates, nope, not going to happen. Yankees and Phillies get their first round picks pushed back. So even though that's technically in comp A, they can't trade it. And then after that, the Colorado Rockies. And while the Rockies certainly need someone like Freddy Peralta, he doesn't exactly line up with their contention window. They are several years away from competing, and getting 1 year of Freddy Peralta and trading what little their farm system has to get him just does not make sense. So I don't see that happening. And then you could look to comp B, but those picks are way later. They're after the second round. So instead of picking, 30th, 31st, you're picking 70th, 71st. Big difference in terms of the money that's going to get you for your bonus pool and the type of player you're going to be ending up getting back. But teams there: Seattle Mariners, Detroit Tigers, Reds, Marlins, Rays, Athletics, Twins. And I don't see the Twins making that kind of move. Brewers are not sending them to the Reds. The Marlins are already trading off one of their other starters. Maybe the Rays could, make a move for comp round B. But Mariners, they already got a strong rotation. Tigers, they're losing Tarek Skubal. Why not just get another guy who's going to leave after a year? I don't really see that happening either. But the Athletics, maybe they could use certainly some help. But those are the teams with tradable draft picks that that could be a serious X factor here for the Freddy Peralta sweepstakes. And according to these reporters, there's an increasing likelihood, it seems like, of a Freddy Peralta trade here before we get to spring training. Ken Rosenthal said he expects a trade to happen of Freddy Peralta. Robert Murray has also come out and said that he believes Peralta will end up getting moved. So the likelihood is going up, it seems. The Brewers are lining up a bidding war for Peralta. It appears just with what they're looking for, the asking price is incredibly high, as it should be. I mean, they're looking for an excess of what they got for Corbin Burns, hoping to get that. And teams are still lining up. Teams are still interested. So if they're able to make this happen, it could go down very similarly to the Burns deal, where it happens end of January, early February, and you see him get moved. But we shall see if any team actually gets themselves into the price range that the Brewers are looking for. So we'll certainly keep an eye on that, because things have really started to perk up and heat up here now that we are into the new year, in front offices back at work, and these guys are trying to make some things happen. So the likelihood appears to be going up that Freddy Peralta is going to be on the move. Lots of teams have named interest, lots of teams we don't know about but are likely interested. So going to keep an eye on that for sure. And then finally here, I want to kind of look to win projections for the upcoming season, because it's kind of a good sense of where everyone thinks that you're at as a team. And last year the win projections were way down for the Brewers. This year they're up a bit more, but it still feels like the Brewers are being disrespected, because I'm looking at this line here from Betting Pros that they have for the upcoming season, projected win-loss totals, over-unders, and the Brewers are beneath the Chicago Cubs in win projections. The Cubs are projected for 88.5 wins. The Brewers are projected for 87.5 wins, which to me is just insane. After the Brewers boat raced the Cubs once again in the NL Central, they won it by 5 games. And what have the Cubs done this offseason to instill confidence that they are going to be better, that they are going to win the division this time around? I mean, they haven't done anything this offseason. I mean, the biggest thing they've done is what? Re-sign Shota Imanaga? That's it. Tyler Austin, is he their big time addition that they got? Phil Maton, an eighth inning setup guy. Hunter Harvey, is that the big addition that's going to put them over the top? I mean, what are we doing here? They're losing Kyle Tucker, one of their better players. Like, they have lost Brad Keller, they lost Mike Soroka, they lost Drew Pomeranz. Like, how? How can anyone justify putting the Cubs above the Brewers in the win projections at the moment? All the Brewers have lost is Rhys Hoskins, who already lost his job to Andrew Vaughn. Jose Quintana's out there. You've got 5 billion other starting pitchers that are going to be able to take his place. What are we doing having the Brewers under the Cubs in terms of win projections? All the Brewers did was win 97 games and win the most games of any team in baseball last regular season. They were the number 1 seed in the entire playoffs. What are we doing having them back down to 87 wins? And really, every year since 2017, the Brewers have had 86 or more wins. So I know this isn't really a betting advice, show here, but over 87.5, I mean, that just seems like easy money. If it doesn't work, don't yell at me. Not my fault. But still, I mean, what are we doing here? How are we setting the lines like that? How are we putting the Chicago Cubs above the Brewers in win projections when they have done nothing to put themselves over the top in this NL Central race? They have done nothing to improve, nothing to get better. The Brewers haven't exactly done much this offseason either, but the Brewers were also very clearly further ahead of where the Cubs were based on the standings last season. So it's incredible, the disrespect that the Brewers always seem to get with Vegas, with the national media, whoever it is. They don't believe what the Brewers are doing is real, and yet time after time, year after year, the Brewers prove once again that it is real. So we shall see, and we shall see the Brewers prove them wrong once again. And we'll be back at it again tomorrow. We'll see if we have any more Freddy Peralta updates as things continue to move along here. And the offseason's kicking back up. Next week, we got arbitration deadline, international signing window. Lots to get to there. So that'll be coming up. So don't miss an episode. Be sure to subscribe here to Brewers Daily. Get notified every single time a new episode drops. Follow me on Twitter at dgasper24, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.